Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Muppet. Welcome back to another Starcraft 2 Daily Masters. Going to be checking out a wonderful ZvZ, I believe it is, judging by the crit spread all over the place. And let's introduce our players. Down the bottom right side of the map, we do, of course, have Jaedong. He is 24 years old, from South Korea, and he plays for Evil Geniuses, and he is by far one of the best Zerg players in the entire game, man. It's in the entire game. So anyway, he's going for a pull before hatch by the looks of it, but then again, so is Leenock, and I guess this is fairly standard ZvZ play, simply because the options for early pressure are just so intense in ZvZ, so much more than Protoss or Terran. I mean, Protoss or Terran, they can do proxy stuff, but that's very, very risky sort of all-in sort of behavior, whereas Zerg, they can go for a pull first and do a lot of early harassment, aggression, and that sort of stuff. So it's definitely a lot better to go for the pull into hatch. And of course, Jaedong's opponent is going to be none other than Leenock. He is 18 years old, plays for South Korea, and is part of the Yo Flash Wolves team. When did he join that? It was actually the end of January this year. He was previously from the 4R Utopia team, and then he was not part of any team for a couple of months, and now is part of the Yo Flash Wolves team. So yeah, congrats on his new team, and yeah, he's definitely deserves to be in one of the best teams, because he really is an awesome player. So let's have a look. We've got pretty much the same play going on for both players, same worker count, same link count, so it's pretty identical. And once again, the name of the game in ZvZ is going to be watching for the Roach Warren and watching for the Baling Nest, and just overlords all over the place, man. It's very hard to do a surprise attack in ZvZ early game, simply because there are overlords everywhere, absolutely everywhere. You can see that Jaedong has scouted both of the main entrances out of Leenock's map, out of Leenock's base, so any sort of aggression coming out, and Jaedong will absolutely 100% see it coming from a mile away. And of course, Leenock has done exactly the same for Jaedong's base. So these two lings, he knew they were coming, and Leenock probably knew the same about these guys, but they're mainly there for scouting purposes. The queen is going to run out, is going to take it out. This one ling may survive long enough to go around and do a bit of a scout. Definitely want to be able to take these lings out ASAP, because of course they are going to be able to scout any sort of crazy play. This ling trying desperately to survive, and Jaedong absolutely has to kill it right now, because the Baling Nest is out. And he's got to be able to take that out. The Baling Nest coming down as well. And where are those two lings? I think those lings actually were lost. If you have a look at the units lost, no, so I don't think the two lings from Jaedong have been lost. They managed to get out of there again. Are they going to run in and see this thing straight away? Because that would give Jaedong a definite advantage. You will see the Baling Nest coming out quite a bit before Leenock is going to see Jaedong's own Baling Nest. So definitely an advantage there. He's actually going to morph these guys into Balings, but Leenock does realise that they are going to be coming here. He's going to go in, he's going to wipe them out, and the Baling is just going to be running for it. Maybe they can link up with their reinforcing army. Here he comes. Jaedong does have speed. Both players have speed. But here we go. Another Baling coming in, and Leenock has his own Baling force. So Leenock has just as much units, I think. He's got less lings, but he's still got a pretty decent amount. He's building a ton more, actually, going for an absolute ton. So his counter is going to be completely off the chain, but if Jaedong can pick off some of these Balings, he can mitigate the eventual damage that's going to come into his base. You can see he's building a ton of lings for himself. He knows that Leenock has an absolute ton of lings coming out towards him, and he's definitely going to need these lings coming out in the very next couple of minutes. His Spine Crawler coming out as well. If he can micro this into hitting the Balings, that is going to be exactly what he needs to do. We'll see if he can knock out any of these Balings really early on. The lings coming in. Two more Spine Crawlers going in. The lings going for workers, but that's not going to help. The Balings coming in. He's trying to get some Balings to sort of bump them off, and we do have one Spine Crawler going down to Baling Fire. The Queen attacking the Balings. A couple of Banelings do get inside the worker line though. Are they going to be able to get the explosions off? The workers running for it, and Leenock not quite getting the critical mass of workers that he needs to explode into. I think this is the best he's going to get, because Jaedong still manages to dodge most of it and saves a fair amount of his workers. He's 4 workers down at the moment. He's building 3 more. The Ling numbers are still pretty good. It looks like Jaedong has a ton of them right now. Leenock losing most of his forces, but he will be repairing those very, very quickly, getting a ton of Lings out, getting a ton of Banelings off. And if Leenock can get the sort of Baneling hits that he needs to get on this Ling force, then that will be awesome. Kind of got a hit there. Not a great hit, but it kind of got a hit. And not really able to push down the numbers. Oh, that was pretty nice though. And I think with that, Jaedong has definitely not got the numbers he needs to pursue that. We can see that Jaedong has pushed on to Mutas though. He's definitely been pushing the Leertech a lot faster than Leenock has, and he's going to get Mutas a lot quicker. He's got the gas coming down as well, the gas geysers. Does not have a 3rd base yet, but that's definitely going to be on the books right there. There we go, the worker coming out for the 3rd base, so he's going to go for full Muta tech right here. And meanwhile, Leenock gaming up for another attack, and Jaedong, having moved over to his different tech, is going to be maybe a little bit hard pressed. He should still be okay. He's got a couple of Banelings out the front, but this isn't a full-on attack from Leenock. This is just keeping the 3rd base from going down. He's got his own 3rd base going down, keeping Jaedong from getting his own 3rd base. So excellent, excellent play there. But Jaedong may have the last laugh if he manages to force the cancel on this base. I'm not sure if he will be able to. There's a Baneling coming in. Jaedong trying his absolute hardest, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it here. The base is going to continue to go down. He's going to make his own 3rd base go down. However, Leenock has kept his own 3rd base alive, and that is going to buy him the advantage as far as the hatchery timing is going. However, Jaedong does have his Mutas out a lot faster than Leenock can potentially have. So all of this Ling harassment coming down there. Hopefully your Mutas can take this out, because if this base gets denied again, then I don't know if the Mutas being out faster is really going to be an advantage. There we go, goes down again. I don't know if he cancelled it or not. I'm thinking not, considering the low amount of minerals he's got. And here we go, the Mutas are coming out. It looks like he did manage to destroy this though. That must have been where all of Jaedong's forces were, destroying that 3rd base. But here we go, the Ling's coming around again, and the Mutas are going to go to work on them. So there's the advantage. Can he force the cancel once again? Does force the cancel. The worker managing to survive though by the skin of its teeth. And now the Ling forces are really coming out for Jaedong, and now the Muta forces are really coming out for Jaedong. He's got 9 Mutas on the ground. Leenock building 8, so he's got a small Muta advantage. And the fact is, Leenock, he did manage to force that base to be destroyed. So Leenock hasn't got quite as much of a lead as you might have expected. And just the amount of bases getting knocked out by both of these players, absolutely phenomenal. But I do believe that we've sort of evened it out there. Leenock a little bit ahead with the base timing, and with the workers. 3 workers ahead, there's not a much, but the hatchery coming out a little bit earlier is going to be nice. Although Jaedong just going nuts here. He's going to force the cancel here. I don't know if Leenock is going to be able to save this. Does not, and Jaedong just going nuts. I think just his crazy amount of Lings going, but Leenock is going to force back here, going to try and force this base out. If Jaedong can save this, then this is going to get him back in the game in a big way, but I don't think he can save this. I don't think he's going to be able to get there fast enough to save this base. I really, really don't. The base is going to have to be cancelled, and it's just a case of 3rd base versus 3rd base. Leenock going back is going to be rebuilding this, and Jaedong is going to be rebuilding this as well. I think one of these players is going to have to go for just try and force a 4th base at some point. Maybe go for the surprise tack on getting the 4th base up. I'd love to see who it's going to be who decides to make that push, because otherwise it's just going to be 3rd base versus 3rd base, and I don't know, maybe they'll just sit back at this point and just sit back and try and make it work. We got 17 versus 15. We do have 48 versus 13 Lings. So maybe Jaedong has pulled out the Ling advantage right here. Maybe he can make this work. We do have a ton of Queens coming out, so no chance of him attacking there. He's hoping to pull the army out so his Lings can go in and take out the 3rd base, but Leenock is not leaving his 3rd base undefended anymore. He's got a ton of Lings there, as well as 1 Baneling. So Jaedong not going to be able to do it in there. The Mutas coming in, but Leenock moving around with a very, very heavy Queen force, and he's determined to get this base down. Jaedong's third base going down as well, and we're sort of evened out at the moment. I mean, Jaedong does have a crap ton of lings, and that is definitely an advantage for him right now. But with the queens on the field, I mean, Leenock has a huge amount of queens, 8 versus 2 at the moment, and that's definitely going to give him a huge defensive advantage versus the mutas. And Jaedong actually going to be trying to make it happen right here. I don't know if Leenock has enough, but he's going to be falling back to the queens to try and give himself some support. Here we go, the lings coming in, but Leenock has enough queens just to see them off, or enough lings anyway. And Jaedong, if he can take this base out, that is going to be huge, but there is an equal amount of mutas going for his own base. No base defenses, so it might be a trade right here. He's just sending the lings in and pulling his own muta force back to save his third base. He might be able to get there quickly enough. I'm not sure. The question is, can his lings take out Leenock's third base? It looks like it is going to go down. The mutas for Jaedong coming out, and Leenock choosing to pull his forces out of there, fall back to the queens instead of actually taking out that third base. So it looks like Jaedong's eventually his incredible number of lings, his increased number of lings anyway compared to Leenock, has won the victory right there. And we do have a slow push of queens coming out here, and this is a very slow push, and all that Jaedong has to do is survive this push, and if he can do that, then he's going to come out on top. His ling numbers have been equaled after sacking so many of them to take out that hatchery, and he's actually taken out the recreated one. He's going to send his lings all the way to the back, and Leenock cannot afford to pull back his forces right here because queens would take like a million years to get back. So he's going to push in, he's going to go for this base, and I mean, Jaedong needs to find a way to deal with queens. There we go, the lings coming in. The lings getting in there. There's a decent amount of lings, but the transfusions are going down. I don't think he's going to be able to kill these queens. He's having a good crack of it though. One queen goes down, another one is transfused away from death, but the muta's feeling confident enough to move in there, and there we go. The queens finally go to a massive amount of ling harass, and Leenock bringing in some reinforcing lings, but they're just not in time right there. So Jaedong, he didn't really have the better economy, but he put everything into lings, whereas Leenock put everything into queens, and thought he'd make it happen. Did not. Was not able to make that happen, and I suppose what it came down to was Jaedong had lings all over the place, constantly attacking, and Leenock went for the queen play, which is an interesting play, but in the end, the queens spent 99% of their time either defending or in the middle of the map where they were not able to hit anything and they were just trying to move across the map, which took ages. So all that time the queens were not attacking, all the time Jaedong was attacking with his lings. So really, really worked out, and in the end, the lings managed to take down the queens. So that was the important thing, and once the queens went down, Jaedong had the forces and took out the win. So great job for him, and yes, he is victorious. So thank you very, very much for watching this game. This has been Hairy Muppet. I hope you enjoy this game. Stay tuned for another one tomorrow.